In a stunning series of events shaking Washington, US President Donald Trump has made not one, not two, but three major U-turns in his Ukraine policy. After a mysterious 2-hour phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Trump's stance on the war has flipped, suddenly pulling back military support for Kyiv, softening sanctions on Moscow, and even suggesting that Russia might keep seized Ukrainian territory. And if that weren't enough, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth showed up at Trump's meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, wearing a tie in Russian flag colors. Coincidence? Maybe. Symbolism? Many doubt it. And now, Trump is planning a historic summit with Putin in Budapest, hosted by none other than Hungary's Viktor Orban. Welcome back to TFI Global. Let's break down how one phone call may have changed America's entire position on the Ukraine war. It all began on October 16, 2025, a date that could go down as a turning point in the US-Russia relations. Trump and Putin spoke for 2 straight hours, reportedly their 8th conversation since Trump's return to the White House. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt described it as a productive conversation towards peace. But behind closed doors, the details remain a mystery. Sources close to the administration suggest that Putin raised missile retaliation threats, a veiled warning over US plans to send long-range Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. Before the call, Trump had greenlit the idea. After the call, he froze it. Coincidence or Kremlin influence? Analysts at CNN and Reuters believe the timing was no accident. Putin, they say, knows how to play Trump, appealing to his desire for the big deal that ends the war on his watch. Just one day later, that strategy began paying off. On October 17, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived at the White House, expecting reassurance and weapons. Instead, he got ambiguity. Trump briefed him on the Putin call, calling it a big step towards peace, and then dropped a bombshell. He no longer believed sending Tomahawk missiles was the right move. He urged Zelensky to accept a mutual victory, a vague phrase interpreted by diplomats as a call to freeze the war where it stands. That means Russia keeps what it's already captured. Photos from the Oval Office tell their own story. Zelensky's stern expression, Trump's confident smile, and behind them, Pete Hegseth wearing a red, white and blue striped tie, the exact colors of the Russian flag. Social media went wild. TASS called it a friendly gesture while Reddit dubbed it the Russian tie incident. Coincidence or coded message? No one knows, but it set the internet on fire. So, what exactly are these 3 U-turns that have stunned Washington and Kyiv alike? First U-turn, no Tomahawks for Ukraine. Just days before the Putin call, the Pentagon had hinted at approving the delivery of Tomahawk cruise missiles, powerful long-range weapons capable of striking deep into Russian territory. After the call, Trump reversed course, saying, "We want peace, not escalation." Ukraine called it a betrayal. Analysts called it Putin's quiet victory. The second U-turn, no new sanctions. Trump's administration, once vocal about punishing Russian aggression, is now signaling a freeze on further sanctions. According to CNBC and Politico, the White House has shifted the focus from punishment to diplomatic resolution. For the Kremlin, this means breathing room, financially and politically. The third U-turn, Russia keeps its gains. This is the biggest shocker. Trump reportedly proposed freezing the front lines, essentially legitimizing Russia's control over the occupied territories of Ukraine. The New York Times called it a de facto recognition of conquest. Kyiv is furious, Europe is alarmed, and Moscow smiling. Then came Trump's biggest surprise, his announcement of a Trump-Putin summit in Budapest. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban, a nationalist leader and one of Putin's closest European allies, will host the talks. Orban celebrated, saying Hungary is the only place in Europe that welcomes peace. Critics in the European Union were less enthusiastic. Brussels insiders fear this will be Yalta 2.0, where global borders are redrawn at the expense of smaller nations. According to Reuters, Budapest has assured Russia that Putin can safely attend, despite his ICC arrest warrant, since Hungary has distanced itself from the court. If the summit happens, it will mark Putin's first visit to the European Union since the Ukraine war began. And for Trump, it could be a defining moment, either as a peacemaker or as a pawn. Reactions have been swift and divided. Supporters of Trump call it realistic diplomacy. They argue that the US can't bankroll endless wars and that Trump's priority is peace through strength. Critics, however, see a dangerous tilt towards Moscow. A viral post on X read, Putin didn't need to invade America, he just needed a phone call. European leaders, especially from Poland and the Baltics, are alarmed. They fear the US is abandoning its traditional role as Europe's shield. Meanwhile, in Kyiv, morale has dipped. Ukrainian officials privately admit that without US weapons like Tomahawks, their counter-offensives could stall completely. Inside Washington, even Republicans appear split, some echoing Trump's peace push, others warning of an appeasement. So, is Trump's shift a bold move towards peace or a dangerous dance with Putin? Supporters say he's the only one brave enough to talk to the enemy and end a costly war. Detractors say he's giving Moscow everything it wants: time, territory, and legitimacy. But one thing is undeniable. Since that 2-hour phone call, every signal from Washington, every tone, every tie, every tweet has leaned ever so slightly towards Moscow. As the world waits for the Budapest summit, one question looms large. Did Trump just take the first step towards peace, or the first step towards Putin's victory? This is Trump's 3 U-turns, the call that changed the war. Thanks for watching.